Imagine you're going on a vacation to a beautiful lakeside place with your family. But suddenly a group of strangers with weapons intrude your house where you're staying. They threaten you and your family to make an impossible sacrifice or else the world will end. What would you do in that situation? Will you believe them or protect your family? Well, this is exactly what happened in this movie called Knock at the Cabin. We'll know the story of the movie today. So let's begin. Wen is catching grasshoppers outside. Then she sees a man coming to her. He introduces her as Leonard. He says he wants to be friends with Wen. Leonard says he has come there because he has a very important job to do in the history of the world. Leonard says Wen must let him talk with her parents in the house. Leonard has some associates with him as well. They are carrying some weapons. Wen gets scared and goes inside the house and locks the door. She goes to her parents to tell them about Leonard. Wen's parents are a gay couple and they are coming to this beautiful lakeside place for a vacation. Their names are Eric and Andrew. Leonard knocks on the door. Eric and Andrew go to check. Andrew sees through the window blinds and he sees them with weapons. 3 gets scared. Eric tells Leonard nicely to leave. But Leonard insists by saying he has a very important job to do for humankind and the 3 are chosen for this. Andrew tries to call the cops but Leonard and his team already cut the phone service. Leonard warns them for the last time that if they don't let them in, then they will break the door and come inside their house. Andrew gets angry and says he has a gun but actually the gun is in their car. Andrew and Eric plan to run to the car from the back door and then leave the place. Leonard and his associates already started to break the door and windows. Eric, Andrew, and Wen are about to run away but then one of Leonard's associate women named Sabrina intrudes into the house. Eric gets angry and attacks her but unfortunately, he gets injured in his head and unconscious. After that, another associate named Redmond comes inside. This time Andrew attacks him and they engage in a fight. But soon Andrew stops when he sees Leonard and Adrian are inside as well and they get Wen. Now 3 are trapped and helpless. They surrender. Leonard and his associates tie Eric and Andrew to their chairs. After that, Leonard and his associates introduce one by one. Leonard is a school teacher and coach, Sabrina is a nurse, Redmond works at a gas company, and Adrian is a cook at a restaurant. Leonard says that the 4 are there to save the world from apocalypses like tsunamis, earthquakes, etc. 4 of them saw repeated visions of destroying the world. Eric, Andrew, and Wen are chosen to stop those apocalypses from happening. Eric, Andrew, and Wen have to choose one among themselves and whoever is chosen has to die to save the world. But they cannot kill themselves. If they don't sacrifice then the world and 7 billion people will end in front of their eyes and only 3 of them will live in this devastating world. Andrew and Eric don't believe in their words and say they won't choose anyone. After that, Redmond comes in front of Eric and Andrew and sits on his knees. He then covers his face with a white cloth and says, "A part of humanity has been judged." Soon after Sabrina, Adrian, and Leonard kill him with their weapons. Leonard takes the dead body of Redmond outside. After that, Leonard turns on the TV, and in the news, the reporter is saying that a recent earthquake of magnitude 8.5 hit the Aleutian Islands and gives tsunami warnings in North America and South America. In the news, a lot of cities were already affected. Then a second massive earthquake hits in the Pacific Ocean and it causes a giant tsunami where a lot of people die in Cannon Beach, Oregon. Leonard, Sabrina, and Adrian are surprised that these are the same visions they saw. Leonard tells Eric and Andrew that Redmond's death released a plague. So they have to decide tomorrow again to save humanity. Otherwise, another disaster will happen. But Andrew, being a little aggressive, doesn't believe that and says he will not choose to sacrifice his family. But Eric seems a little concerned about that. Sabrina takes Eric to the washroom to change the bandage on his head because he had a concussion. Sabrina tells Eric that she had a nurse and she didn't used to believe these supernatural things. But when she had seen these visions repeatedly, she started to believe them. She made her weapon exactly as shown in her vision. When she saw the cabin and when she came there, she saw the others wearing exactly the same colors in her vision. That's when she realized that she wasn't alone. Sabrina tells Eric whatever is happening is real and he must believe them. But Eric says he is on his family's side. After that, Sabrina takes Eric near Andrew and ties him again to the chair. Andrew tells Eric that the earthquake came 4 hours ago before Leonard and his associates came to their cabin. So they must be timing all of these. Andrew tells Eric not to believe them and because Eric has an injury so they will try to manipulate him. But Eric says he doesn't believe them. Wen, on the other hand, tries to escape through the basement door because Andrew told her to do so. But Leonard sees her escaping and he takes her to the cabin again. Then Andrew remembers something. He says that he knew Redmond. Redmond attacked him in a bar a couple of years ago. So Eric and Andrew are targeted. Eric says his name was O'Bannon. But Andrew believes that is him and he must change his name. So Andrew tells Leonard to check his wallet and see his name is O'Bannon. But Leonard says it doesn't matter what his name is. They all had the same vision and led them to the cabin. The next morning, Adrian feeds Wen breakfast. Wen secretly steals a knife and gives it to Eric. Now it's time for Adrian to speak up and convince them. Adrian says she has a son. So she requested Eric and Andrew to choose so that her son would be alive. But Andrew and Eric don't believe it. Then she sits on her knees and covers her face. She says a part of humanity has been judged. Soon after, Leonard and Sabrina kill her with their weapons. Leonard says they have released the second plague and turns on the TV. The news says a novel X9 virus is spreading rapidly among children and children are dying. Eric tells Andrew that he saw a figure in the light through windows and in reflection in the mirror. Andrew says that was his delusion because of his severe concussion. Andrew says to Leonard that it's a news report. He has been reading about this virus for months. Leonard and his associates all knew this before they came there. So they knowingly make a story and tell it to them. He says they pre-programmed all of these. Then Eric tells Wen to distract Leonard so that he can cut the rope with the knife. Wen screams and cries to see the cartoon on the TV. Leonard tries to calm her down. In the meantime, Eric cuts the rope and tries to attack Leonard. Andrew also sets himself free and goes outside to their car. Sabrina chases him. Andrew somehow gets in the car and loads the gun. Sabrina breaks the car's glass and hurts Andrew to go inside the house. Then Andrew points the gun at her and says to move away. Sabrina runs. Andrew then sees that their car was punctured. He goes inside to save Eric. Andrew points the gun to Leonard and says he should move away from Eric. Leonard then says it's time for the next sacrifice and asks them if they want to make a choice. Then Andrew says he will take his family and run away from there. Then suddenly, Sabrina runs towards Andrew and Andrew shoots her. She dies on the spot. Leonard then covers her face with the white clothes and asks them again if they can make a choice. Andrew says no. Then Leonard strikes Sabrina with his weapon. Andrew finds Redmond's purse and takes an ID. He sees Redmond's name as O'Bannon. He was the same guy who attacked Andrew in the bar. Andrew shows to Leonard and says they have been targeted. He says 4 of them met and made a plan and came to the cabin to hurt them. Andrew even says he doesn't believe that Adrian has a son. So Andrew locks Leonard in the bathroom so that they will leave with Leonard's vehicle. But soon after they leave, they hear a glass breaking sound. Andrew goes inside the bathroom to check. He sees the bathroom window is broken. He sees some movement of the curtain of the bathtub and he shoots there. After some time, Leonard attacks Andrew behind the curtain and takes the gun from Andrew. Leonard then says to turn on the TV if they don't believe him. Andrew still doesn't believe his words. But Eric turns on the TV and there they see in the news that 700 planes crashed resulting in global tragedy. Leonard says it happened exactly as he told them. Andrew says it was a terrorist attack and it has nothing to do with all of these. Eric seems he slowly start to believe Leonard. Eric asks Andrew if everything that happened is a coincidence. Then Andrew says yes. Andrew says he doesn't know what's going on but he says it is a trick or plan against them. Andrew asks Eric not to believe Leonard. Then Leonard says it's time for the last sacrifice and asks them to come outside. Leonard sits on a chair and takes a knife. He tells Eric and Andrew that they'll have only minutes to stop everything when Leonard is gone. Then Eric asks Wen to go to the treehouse. Leonard requests Eric and Andrew to make a choice and save the world. Then Leonard kills himself with the knife by cutting his throat. Soon after, Andrew and Eric see that the sky is covered with dark clouds. 1 or 2 planes crash before their eyes. Lightning hits their surroundings. Eric goes inside, and Andrew follows. Eric says he saw a figure and now he feels it. Andrew says 3 of them should leave now. But Eric says every family has to make tough decisions. Maybe this is the time for them. Eric says it's a sacrifice for their beautiful daughter Wen. He says that was not a home invasion. Leonard and the other 3 didn't target Eric and Andrew. They came there to spend time with Eric and Andrew so that Eric and Andrew get to know them. They represent all aspects of humanity. Redmond represents malice, one who desires to harm someone. Adrian represents nurturing. Sabrina represents healing, and Leonard represents guidance. They are the four horsemen of the apocalypse. Andrew questions Eric then why they are chosen only, they are nothing special. Eric says he knows what he felt when they took Gwen from the orphanage. They were together for the first time. That was their choice. Andrew angrily says they shouldn't sacrifice love for them. That's not worth it. The world hates them that they exist. Eric says they're running out of time. Eric says his mind is clear now. He's not scared. It will give him peace. Andrew says he doesn't believe Leonard. But Eric says he does. Eric tells Andrew to kill him when he's thinking about the most beautiful feelings about their daughter Gwen growing up. Eric visualizes that both Andrew and Gwen will be very happy in the future. Gwen will have her own practice and an office. She will find the love of her life. Andrew says to kill him instead. But Eric insists. Andrew shoots Eric with the gun even though he doesn't want to. Eric dies and Andrew cries hugging Eric's body. Then he goes to the treehouse to take Gwen. Gwen asks Andrew if Daddy Eric saves everyone. Andrew gets emotional and hugs Gwen. The cabin caught fire because of the lightning strikes. Two of them then leave there. They go to the truck of Leonard. They drive the truck and go to a restaurant. There in the news they see that tsunami waves go down, flood disappears. Another news report that the planes are landing safely. Another news says the number of deaths in ICU has decreased after a long time and the hospitals are recovering very quickly. Another news says the lightning and the fire have been extinguished by itself. Andrew and Gwen now believe that everything that was happening was real. They come to the truck. Andrew sees Leonard's certificate as a coach. He sees Sabrina's nurse ID and Adrian's photo with her son. Then he sees Redmond's ID. His name was Rory O'Bannon. Then Andrew starts the truck and one of Eric's favorite songs plays in the stereo. Andrew and Gwen get sad and miss Eric. Then they drive off. The movie ends here. If you like the video, please subscribe to my channel for videos like this. Thank you so much for watching and I will see you on my next one. Bye.